Hey everyone, and welcome to a new series called Can I Kiss You? Written by me, Stacey Holt. Artwork was by ccerealbowl. I'll leave their links below. You should really go check them out because they're such an amazing artist. As for my voice actors, Titanium Kitten will be voicing Plague. Now, Chapter 5. Cat, I think I've liked you for a long time too and didn't even realize it. Marinette blushed. Cat's face went from surprise to happy in a mere 3 seconds, almost making Marinette want to laugh, but she tried to hold it in. He seemed so childlike. Wait, how old was he? What if he was a kid? She could have kissed a kid. How old are you, by the way? Marinette asked, looking at the food laid out in front of her. I would ask you the same thing, but I know you're a senior in high school, from all the homework I've had to help you with. Cat laughed. Hey, that stuff is hard, Marinette pouted. Cat gave her a fork and picked up his own. Cat started to take a few bites, trying to fill in the awkward silence between them. Marinette took the fork and started to eat as well, wondering if he was going to answer her or not. She watched him closely. He was eating like normal, but his hands seemed to be shaking. Cat? Marinette said, taking another bite of her meal. He finished eating his last bite and looked up at her. Are you nervous? Her question caught him off guard, and he seemed to freeze up. Never knew a civilian girl could make the great Cat Noir nervous. She smiled, booping his nose playfully. Cat Noir sat his food down and leaned forward, almost a kiss away from her. He smiled and watched as her face went from teasingly confident to a flustered mess. Says the one that can't handle me leaning forward and getting another piece of bread. Cat smirked, taking another piece of bread and putting it on his plate, returning back to his seat. Marinette's mouth dropped slightly, unable to come up with a valid reason as to why she got flustered. So, are you gonna tell me how old you are, or are you gonna keep that a secret as well? Marinette asked, changing the subject, and tried to recollect her thoughts. I'm supposed to keep everything a secret, but just this once. I'm turning 18 soon, he said, taking a bite of his piece of bread. Really? That's good. We can celebrate it at my house if you want to. Marinette smiled. I guess so, since my family doesn't celebrate it. Cat sighed. Oh, my bad. That was also another thing about me. I'm sorry. He apologized. No, it's fine, she insisted. Cat Noir saw that Marinette wasn't eating anymore, so he decided to clean up the plates and put them into a basket that he brought just for the occasion. After cleaning up, he sat back down beside her and rested his head on her lap, watching her laugh. Don't tell me you brought a movie for us to watch like we did all the time at my house. Marinette laughed. He would always lay his head on her lap when watching a movie or TV show when he would come over. Usually they would be sitting on the couch, though. As he laid his head down and looked up at her, it didn't feel like it did at her house, though. Her heart started to race, and she felt the weight of his head on her legs. He just looked up at her and smiled, not saying anything. We can enjoy the night if you want. I kinda told LB that I would patrol for her, since we're out anyways, Cat said. I like that idea, Marinette smiled, running her fingers through his hair. She looked down at him as she ran her fingers through. What soft hair. It was softer than silk. What kind of shampoo and conditioner does he use? She felt his head move and she met his eyes. She yanked her hands away from his head, remembering she should have asked first. She had never run her fingers through his hair before. Though as she yanked her hand away, she felt him grip her wrist. You don't have to stop. I liked it. He smiled, trying to reassure her that it was all right. You don't have to be nervous around me. I'm still me. Marinette let out a breath, trying to calm her nerves, and nodded. She replaced her hands within his hair and ran her fingers through every few seconds. This was nice. She wished it could last forever, but only one slight problem. The winter night air seemed to get colder and colder as the hours went by. Cat noticed Marinette was starting to get sleepy as well as a little cold, feeling her body start to shake. Are you cold? Kat asked, sitting up to look at her concerned. How could he have not realized how cold it was outside? Not to mention how high up they were. It was more than likely even colder at where they were than below on the ground. His suit kept his body at normal temperature because of its magical properties, yeah, but how could he not think about how Marinette felt? He was being a bad date. Did he ruin the date? What if she didn't like him anymore? Just a little. Hot chocolate at my house? Marinette asked. Kat smiled and nodded, standing up and lending his arm to help her to her feet. Marinette took his hand and hoisted herself up, but the cold steel must have froze. She felt her foot jerk back, slipping on the cold steel. As she felt the cold breeze below her flow upwards as she fell, she saw his once warming smile turn to panic and horror. She was falling straight for the pavement below from the top of the Eiffel Tower. Marinette closed her eyes and smiled, feeling the cold, brisk air through her hair and her clothes blowing around her. She felt something warm wrap around her, something that felt familiar. She knew it was Cat Noir. "Are you all right?" Cat yelled. Panic and worry overwhelmed his face. Marinette looked up at him and nodded, a smile on her face. "Why are you smiling? You could have died," Cat Noir asked worriedly, seeing that she was now laughing at him. "You know that I'm clumsy. I knew you would catch me. I had nothing to fear," Marinette smiled. "You'd always protect civilians." "I'll always protect you. But don't try to fall off of buildings just to get my attention," he chuckled lightly.